What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so I want to go ahead and continue with this series of requested series of my top 10 role players of all time. And just do a brief recap. At number 10, I had AC Green. Number 9, Draymond Green. Number 8, Frank Ramsey. Number 7, Danny Ainge. Number 6, Lamar Odom. At number 5, I have Michael Cooper. Of course, Michael Cooper, just this year, was inducted to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Congratulations to him. And I always said if they were going to put Draymond Green in the Hall of Fame, ain't no way you can put him in the Hall of Fame and not include Michael Cooper. I mean, it just didn't make any sense whatsoever. Michael Cooper, of course, played the majority, I think all of his NBA career with the Los Angeles Lakers. He played for them from, I believe, 1978, until 1990. And during that 12-year span, excuse me if I sound a little strange. I'm suffering from the effects of a cold right now. I don't usually get a lot of these things, but I got a cold right now, so it's causing me to sound a little congested and nasally. I'm a little bit off too, so. But anyway, you might say, nigga, you always off. Yeah, I am. But anyway, during that 12-year span, he won 5 NBA championships. And during the 1986-87 season, he won the Defensive Player of the Year award. He was 6'7" and 190 pounds. At that time, being a 6'7" shooting guard was relatively rare. He also had pretty long arms. He had long length, which made him a very valuable player on the defensive end because it allowed Michael Cooper to be able to guard the point guards, the shooting guards, and even at times the small forwards, and depending on even the matchup, even power forwards, some power forwards. Michael Cooper could switch on and be effective to a certain extent defensively. He didn't rack up a lot of steals. That wasn't his thing. You can even argue, though, with steals that you gamble. Cooper was just a guy that was, he was a guy that was a great pressure defender, an on-ball defender. And more often than not, Michael Cooper contained and at times even shut his man down. That's what his MO was, you know what I'm saying? Great guy. He gave, he gave his heart and soul to the Los Angeles Lakers. And, you know what I'm saying, he was a very valuable and underrated part of the Showtime era, because everybody looks at Magic Johnson and Kareem and Worthy. Everyone is so enthralled by their offense. But to win championships, as I said time and time again, to win a championship, you have to be, at the very least, a good defensive team. You look at the history of the NBA, the lowest rated defensive teams, I think, were like 14th or 15th. You can't not be a bad defensive team and win a championship. It just doesn't work. It doesn't. That's why I've never been big on Mike D'Antoni or, the Don Nelsons of the world. Yeah, it's fun to see these guys score a lot of points. Their teams score a lot of points. But those are not championship teams. It just, generally speaking, they're not. And if you're going to win a championship, you're going to need a Michael Cooper. So Michael Cooper, of course, was drafted back in 1978 out of New Mexico. He was the 60th pick in the 3rd round. And Michael Cooper quickly became a fan favorite. for his consistency on the defensive end, selflessness, and his knee-high socks. The look of the knee-high socks, which I think to a certain extent he popularized. Larry Bird called him the best defender that he ever faced. And when you look at his numbers don't jump out at you, but there's something that people don't take into account. And that's his underrated playmaking abilities. You look at his career numbers. Michael Cooper averaged 8.9 points, 3.2 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and 1.2 steals. Now, when you look at the assists, that's a shockingly high number for a guy that played on the same team with Magic Johnson, who averaged over 11 assists per game for his career. And early part of his career, he played on the same court with same team with Norm Nixon. Norm Nixon himself was averaging 7-8 assists per night. So that shows you his underrated playmaking and passing ability. Another part of his game that was underrated and was valuable at the time was Michael Cooper's three-point shooting ability. Now, his three-point percentage of 34% doesn't jump out at you now, and by today's standards, it would be seen as actually a little bit below normal. But for the 1980s, a 34% three-point shooter was valuable, even though the three-point shot was still in its infancy in the NBA. By the second half of the 80s, it was becoming the three-point shot was becoming a more valuable weapon. And Michael Cooper was quickly becoming one of the better three-point shooters in the NBA. Still not noted as an offensive player, but he was becoming a more valuable three-point shooter. Matter of fact, let me check something out here. For his career, he shot 46.9% from the floor, 34% from downtown, 83.3% from the free throw line. And check something out. So the first half of his career, he was not a three-point shooter, really. He didn't really started shooting threes until around 1985 or so. 84-85 season, he shot about 29% from three, which is a little bit above league average or about league average at the time. But then afterwards, you saw that he began to take them more frequently and began to hit them more frequently. The next year, 39%, 32%, 38%, and 32%. So he definitely began to shoot that shot more frequently. And he came into the NBA a good free throw shooter, then he left a great free throw shooter. As a matter of fact, the last 6 years of his career, Cooper shot over 86% from the foul line, although he didn't get a lot of attempts. When you look at Michael Cooper's resume, he was, of course, a five-time NBA champion, winning championships in 1982, 85, 87, and 88. He was also, as I said before, the 1987 NBA Defensive Player of the Year winner. He was on 5 all-defensive first teams, 3 all-defensive second teams. Matter of fact, until this year, he and Norm Van Lier had both shared the record for most defensive teams without being in the Hall of Fame. This year, of course, he's in the Hall of Fame. But that stands to give. But then, you have to wonder to yourself, okay, well, if Michael Cooper's in the Hall of Fame, should Norm Van Lier be in the Hall of Fame? Anyway, after his NBA career, Michael Cooper went over to Italy to play in their league, the Italian League, where he was the Italian All-Star Game MVP in 1991. And as a coach in the WNBA, Michael Cooper won two WNBA championships in 2001 and 2002 back-to-back, what I believe was the LA Sparks, if I'm not mistaken. He's also the WNBA Coach of the Year in 2000. And later on, in the D-League, he won a championship there as a coach in 2006. So, everywhere Coop went, he won. When he left the Lakers after the 89-90 season, he was ranked among the Lakers' all-time top 10 in three-point field goals, 428, games played, 873, total minutes played, 23,635, steals, 1,033, blocks, 523, assists, 3,666, defensive rebounds, 2,028, offensive rebounds, 741, and free throw percentage, 833. Number 5, Michael Cooper.